across Texas. The issue is...
I'm Greg Groogan in Houston.
I'm Rudy Koski in Austin.
And I'm Stephen Dial in Dallas. And this is Texas, the issue is.
As Israel wages war on Hamas, Michael McCaul, the first Texan ever to chair the influential House Foreign Affairs Committee, has immersed himself in fact-finding and analysis. His mission? Helping Congress navigate the treacherous diplomatic and military challenges facing the United States in the unpredictable weeks and months to come. We spoke with Chairman McCaul following his face-to-face meeting in Tel Aviv with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Does the reality you witnessed match what the media is reporting?
That's a great question. I would say no. Gruesome acts of violence, killing, 1,400 Jewish people, taking 250 individuals hostage, raping, cutting heads off, burning people alive, just really awful things that if some of these protesters could see this video, I think they'd have a better understanding as to who the victim really is.
You spoke with the Prime Minister. Is there anything else you can tell us about your conversation with him?
He said, what I need now, what I need yesterday is ammo, ammo, ammo. And we took that message back. It's not time to play political games with this. They only have a very short period of time, and they will run out of ammo. They'll run out of replenishing the Iron Dome. Even when we were there, rockets come in every day from Hezbollah, from the north, and you got about 90 seconds to get into the bunker, to survive that. So they are fighting for their very existence right now. They also talked a lot about the human shield that Hamas uses their own people as human shields, and the hostages themselves, like in the Al-Shifa hospital, which is basically a military base for Hamas, but it's shielded with their own people that they're willing to allow to get killed to protect their military operation.
Chairman, I know you've witnessed the mass demonstrations in support of the Palestinians. What's your take on that? And if you could sit down with some of those young people, mostly young people, what would you tell them?
I believe social media has been infected, if you will, with disinformation coming from Iran and Russia and China. By the way, China controls the algorithms on TikTok. So if you type in Israel or Palestine, you're going to get a lot of pro-Palestinian Hamas material and videos pop up. And that's primarily the source of education for our young people. Hamas is very good at playing the victim card, but the Jewish people have been historically the victim throughout history. In fact, we haven't seen this many Jewish people killed since the Holocaust.
There will be members who come to you for advice. How will you be advising not only members of the Republican caucus, but all members of Congress?
You got this threat from Putin to Ukraine and Europe. Putin invited Hamas to the Kremlin. He's tied to Chairman Xi in China. And, what happens in Ukraine will impact what happens in Taiwan. And it also obviously impacts the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah is selling drones to the Russians to kill Ukrainians. They're all in this together. I haven't seen this unholy alliance materialize quite like it is now with our adversaries, and that is Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. They work in concert together, and they are behind what happened in the Middle East as well. And they like the fact that's a diversion, in their opinion, from what's happening in Eastern Europe. And it's also a diversion for Chairman Xi with Taiwan. And I think it emboldens and empowers them as well.
Israel is waging war on Hamas. Are you satisfied that they are doing it in such a manner that minimizes collateral damage?
They're circling Gaza City. They're keeping the fuel out so that they eventually have to come out of the tunnels, and then they can eliminate Hamas, rescue hostages, and the innocent Palestinian people. I think it's really important to note that Hamas oppresses the Palestinian people. They are not one and the same. And I think if you're going to achieve true peace in the Middle East, we have to liberate the Palestinian people from the oppressor and this terror organization, and that is Hamas.
Gentlemen, my one-word assessment is intractable. Rudy, what's your word?
You know, the congressman had a couple of good words there: diversion, liberate. I'm going to go with quicksand.
Stephen, how about you?
My word, complex.
All right, clearly there's much more to discuss here, which the Fox Texas trio is set to undertake on the other side of this break. Welcome back as we work through Congressman Michael McCaul's sobering assessment of the ongoing bloodshed in Gaza and his contention that this conflict is the latest, most visible front of a wider proxy war. Rudy, Texans as a whole are torn on this deeply emotional issue. What are you seeing and hearing in Austin, which has an anti-war tradition dating back to the days of LBJ?
Yeah, Greg, I don't know torn, but maybe conflicted. And yes, Austin historically has been an anti-war community. And earlier this month here in Austin, there was a big pro-Palestinian march downtown. Austin's Congressman Greg Groogan also last week released a poll that he paid for of likely Democrat voters in his district. It showed overwhelming support for a ceasefire and for his primary re-election. Now, it's worth noting that Groogan's poll numbers may be a little skewed to the high side because of the low number of people surveyed, about 400 people, and how the ceasefire question was actually written. It read, Congressman Groogan has called for a ceasefire in Gaza and the immediate release of Israelis hostages taken by the terrorist group Hamas. Congressman Groogan has said the security of Israel can be guaranteed without the killing of thousands more innocent Palestinians. Now, that's a really broad statement, but I don't think it's that simple, which is why my word was quicksand. But Greg, getting back to what the Congressman McCaul said, I find it interesting how he described the people in Gaza as being victims of Hamas and in need of rescue.
Hey, Stephen, McCaul contends social media on platforms consumed by younger Americans is being manipulated by the Chinese and Russians to alter the narrative, demonize Israel, and blame shift away from Hamas after their October 7th slaughter of Jewish civilians. You agree or disagree with McCaul?
I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, we know that there is outside influences when it comes to, especially with younger people are able to see the algorithms. He mentioned if you search certain words, there are outside influences that are affecting social media. And so he has a point in a way of saying that the narrative is being impacted, but also here in the States, a narrative is being impacted depending on where you consume your news. And so I mentioned complex because it's not just one side fits all. There are innocent people on the other side and Palestinians who have been killed in this, and that's just the nature of war itself. But is there influence when it comes to social media? Sure, but I don't think that that's dramatically changing people's opinion, in my opinion.
Rudy, we are 11 months and change away from the 2024 election. President Biden has drawn some criticism from many Democrats and even letters of protest from hundreds of his own administration members for refusing to pressure Israel to call off its counterattack on Gaza. Question, does this crisis have the potential to undermine the president's support in the crucial months ahead?
You know, Greg, I doubt it will turn away any hardcore progressive and push them toward a GOP candidate, but certainly not Donald Trump if he ends up being the Republican nominee. But I think that the mixed messaging by the Biden administration, especially right after the terror attack, troubled Jewish Democrats. Losing them, and if the young voters fail to turn out in the general election, that will hurt Biden's re-election bid. Greg?
Stephen, polling has been all over the place on this issue. You know, some saying that Americans are for the ceasefire and against Israel overwhelmingly, others showing strong support for Israel. What are you seeing?
Yeah, and I think this goes back to education, right? Because a lot of people, as we mentioned earlier, are just consuming this from maybe social media posts or searching certain topics or hashtags. And so I think it goes to education. I think this is a torn subject where a lot of people want something for both sides, and we'll just have to wait and see how things sort out.
That's all the time we have. To see this episode, go to our station's YouTube pages.
Keep the conversation going by messaging us on our social media.
Governor Greg Abbott hasn't gotten everything he wanted in this special session. While he got something for the border, he didn't on education yet. We'll continue to monitor things in Austin. Until then, let us know what you think the issue is.